Hi, I'm Mayor Sandra Berry, and I'm here at the Park Lawn Workshop on 111th Street. This is one of their classrooms, and I'm here with the Executive Director, Mr. Jim Weiss. How are you today?
So far, so good. So glad to have you here at Park Lawn's Vocational Service Facility on 5040 West 111th Street. We run many of our programs out of here. Maybe we'll even be able to splice in some of the activities, because this is a spot where the individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities that we serve, they have a chance to have that disability aspect fall to the wayside and really focus on their abilities. So we're very glad to have you here. The Village of Oak Lawn has always been supportive of our organization. In fact, even with this facility, they were instrumental in us securing it and rehabbing it back in 1995.
Wow. Now, what exactly is Park Lawn?
Park Lawn is an organization that was founded in 1955 by parent volunteers to provide community-based services for their mentally retarded children where there were none before. Classic story of family members volunteering and donated church space in both Oak Lawn and Evergreen Park. And then in 1967, they built their first facility at 109th and LaPorte Avenue and officially assumed the name of Park Lawn, which is an acronym for Evergreen Park, Oak Lawn, from where we drew our original group of individuals. And over the years, our programs have continued to evolve.
So this started in the 50s.
1955.
Now, there were no services for those with disabilities back then. I think the Special Olympics didn't even start till the mid-60s.
Correct. And this was, again, there was a number of parent organizations throughout the state, throughout the country that followed this model. And the whole idea was to not institutionalize their children, but keep them in the communities. And it's from there that our organization has continued to grow. Park Lawn's kind of unusual in that our roots are similar to other organizations, but there were no entrance requirements way back then. If you had a child with disabilities, he or she was not graded as severe, profound, mild, moderate. It was just that a person was in need of special attention. So Park Lawn has had, at that time, no entrance requirements. If you're willing to volunteer, work hard, then just come on down. So our programs have continued to evolve over the years to not only meet the changing needs of individuals, but then also to basically provide services that are appropriate to the level of disability that a person has. So we provide day and residential services to people with profound disabilities and in need of 24-hour nursing care, all the way up to people that can work fairly independently within the community.
Wow, wow. So you have how many facilities right now?
Well, we have 12 facilities, of which 8 of them are group homes, and I hope I get the math right on this. Then we have our vocational service facility here, and then we also have 2 intermediate care facilities, ICFDDs, one a 40-bed and one a 15-bed, and to correlate that to what they are, they're nursing home type facilities that serve people with profound needs, requirements of 24-hour medical care. So we're in not only Oak Lawn, but we're also in 5 surrounding communities.
What is a group home like? These are called Scylla homes, I think?
Yeah,
or?
community integrated living arrangements.
Okay.
So what they are homes that are community-based homes, meaning that they're homes that were built and we purchased them from families, and then converted them to make sure that they're ADA compliant, Americans with disabilities compliant, also attuned to the special needs of the folks that we serve there. And we have, we start out with either 4 or 6 individuals living there. And they cook, they clean, there's 24-hour staff supervision for them, but they're fairly independent. We have one group home in Oak Lawn that we're very, very proud of.
Very good, very good. And then the nursing facility, how many residents are in that, do you know?
Park Lawn Center, which is on 115th Street in Mayfield and Alsip. This is where we have 2 facilities in Alsip. Park Lawn is our name, then Alsip, or Al is our middle name, because we have both of our residential facilities or our nursing home type facilities in Alsip. And again, there's a 41-bed on 115th Street, and that provides round the clock nursing. The clients that are there, or the residents that are there, are in need of pretty much total care, both medically and their life skills. And then we have another facility on Costner Avenue in Elsip, our 15-bed facility, Park Lawn Homes. These are still folks that are in need of very tight supervision and daily assistance, but still a little bit more functional, and the 24-hour nursing needs are a little bit lessened over Park Lawn Center.
So what great peace of mind for parents to know that Park Lawn can accommodate their child at any phase in life and no matter what.
I've been around the organization for a while, and was fortunate to meet and get to know and work side by side with some of our founding members going all the way back to 1955. I started in Park Lawn July 1st of 1975. And it's kind of the way the organization has evolved is to meet the changing needs of an individual. This is where our first programs were school programs. If there was if the child, what happens after school? Well, then you look to get a job. Our next was the vocational service facility. Then there was employment within the community. Then it was to address the need that was probably there from the birth of the child, is what's going to happen to that child over my lifetime, over his or her lifetime, what's going to happen when I'm gone. So the provision of residential services was critical to the development of not only the lifelong needs of the people that we serve, but also to have the parents feel confident, feel comfortable that they have arranged for the care of their individual after they are gone.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy. So you were here 40 years.
I believe so. That's what they say. I'm not sure.
And one of the reasons I'm doing this interview is you've recently announced that you're retiring. And I can't imagine Park Lawn without Jim Weiss, without your gentle guidance and your common sense and good-natured, easygoing style. Can you tell me a little bit about who's coming in and what the process involved, and what were you looking for in a replacement?
That's an interesting question, because when you really enjoy with what you're doing, and when you really see the good that is happening from that, sometimes it's difficult to perceive not doing that. However, I believe that one of the most important things is continuity. That we're very proud of the values that have been instilled in our organization by the founding members, that I have been blessed with the opportunity to continue those values throughout. But there always is the realization that even though you're doing things on a daily basis, that there is this passage of time. And the role, I've been the executive director, I got here in '75, but I've been the executive director since 1982. And
it's a long time.
yeah, it is. I mean, when I became the exec, I was 33 years of age, and it's just, but as you go forward, you begin to realize that if you truly are in tune with the values of the organization, of what the future needs, because today is important, but it's always about tomorrow, that it's critical that transition be put in place, and it's best to do it not when there is trauma or there is so again, I've always felt that was part of my role here. So we have been talking about transition internally, board-wise, for a number of years right now. And you have to, when you talk about transition, there is an ending point, in order for the transition to occur. So over the past year and a half or so, our board has been working with fielding potential candidates to work as my replacement. We're fortunate to have our former our former finance director, Mr. Steve Manning, who had worked with us for 7 years, to come back to the organization as its next executive director. So Steve will be starting as a July 1st. Again, is an individual that I know, an individual that knows the organization, and I think that we can truly say that he's the right person at the right time to continue to move Park Lawn forward. Yeah. So. The next phase. It's always about the next phase.
Well, I want to go back in time a little bit to before your time with Park Lawn. You were not in this field at all. You were doing kind of blue collar work, and
well, I did it. Back when I was going to school. Interesting times. I had a double major. It was in English literature and psychology, and probably psychology first and then English literature, and the two of them kind of blended together for me. But upon graduation, it wasn't a question of, you know, what were you going to do. It was so I was worked at a book bindery, worked for Chicago and Northwestern Railroad. There's a whole story that's connected there. But then kind of fell into the field over here and had really no idea about developmental disabilities, mental retardation, because in my neighborhood, in my school, we hadn't really been touched by any of that. But I found myself for an interview at the Kennedy Job Training Center in Palos Park at that point in time. I worked there for 3 years, from 72 to 75. And because I come from a blue collar background, you know, view all work as good and all work as honorable. But when I was waiting for the interview for this job as a direct service person working with these individuals, the work floor was down there, and the interview room was on the second floor, and you could kind of look down. And I saw people that have obvious disabilities doing things that were very familiar to me. They were working, they were assembling and doing things. And the disability part fell by the wayside, and you just looked at the abilities that were there, and something clicked in my head. In that psychology, English literature, art, in terms of looking at things with a certain point of view, there it was. So I guess that, you know, I started out there and then rose through the ranks and came to Park Lawn, you know, et cetera, but it was sort of a blending of lifestyle, a blending of positive approach to life, a blending of trying to do good, trying to be whatever, and that's the way it was.
So at the building, well, I just really want Oakland residents to see the amazing things going on right in our community here. The workshop is huge, and it employs how many people?
Well, we have here in our there's a number of different activities there and programs that we work out of this building, but in our sheltered workshop or in our vocational training program, we have about 120 people. But then we also use this as the staging base for our supported employment program, where we have 40 people that work at 25 different job sites in community employment. We also run our volunteer program from out of this too. Transportation, we run out of here. Some human resource things we run out of here also. So it's a very active building.
Yeah. So the workshop is rows of tables, and the people there are assembling Christmas bags right now.
So what we have is in our vocational training program, in our sheltered workshop program, because we realize that one size doesn't fit all, that everybody should have things that they like to do and then also that they're capable of doing. We do subcontract work for a number of different vendors in the area. Sometimes it's changing price levels. Sometimes we work for Automotion, which is right behind us over here right behind us over here. And we're assembling pieces for the conveyor belts that they do over there, and we do other type of work. But what you would have seen had the other thing
and
worked
we'll
out.
Put a clip in so you could.
Is that we have folks working on Christmas tree bags, and what you do when you buy a natural Christmas tree, oftentimes you will get as part of the purchase these bags that you put on the bottom of the tree, and when you're taking the tree away, you put it on the top so that the needles don't fall out. Well, what we do is our folks coming off of large rolls of polyurethane, you know, fold them and then insert them into a plastic bag, which is then heat sealed, and Park Lawn's logo and Park Lawn's story is on each of those bags, and we do about 750,000 of them that are then spread, you know, and then go out throughout the nation and
it's
in
incredible.
Canada. And what happened, we started out with a vendor, Bioplastics, and we first were connected with that with the blue garbage bag program that they had tried to start in the city of Chicago. Well, we got to know the people from Bio over there. They were then selling these Christmas tree bags. They then gave us the total account, so we are then it's basically a business that we run out of here. All we have to do is buy their product from them and take it from there. So we're always looking for work for what people can do.
I've seen some Nordstrom boxes.
Oh yeah.
Around Christmas time.
For about the past 20 years at least, for Nordstrom's in Oak Brook and downtown, And then also in Woodfield, we have been assembling the gift boxes around Christmas time, and I do believe that varies depending upon the economy. We do anywhere between 450 and 550,000 of those during the Christmas season. So it's just what it shows.
It's Santa's workshop.
What it shows is what our people can do. And again, I know Mayor Burry, I'll call you Sandy for this one, at your particular business, you also employ some of our people from our supported employment
Correct.
program. So I'll turn the interview around a little bit and ask, what has this done for your business? What has it done for your customers? What has it done for your...
Well, in my practice, when we opened the new location 9 years ago, it was really important to me to try to participate. In my old office, we didn't have the room or the staff, and then the bigger office, I needed help, and I needed help with certain types of cleaning. My staff are trained to clean as they work and keep everything orderly just by a matter of habit. But there's certain things like cleaning, the legs of the chairs, the light switches, those kind of things that, you just want done in a regular fashion. And Carol's been with me since we opened, and she's truly important. She's part of my team, and she is just a breath of fresh air with her enthusiasm for coming in and making a difference. And patients really will comment on how nice it is that she's there, and I'll tell them, we get out of the deal far more than we give with Carol. She's truly just a real asset, and I think in the supported employment, I don't know the spectrum of jobs that are out there, but I really appreciate Carol. She is steady, enthusiastic, never complains.
Well, we've been doing supported employment since the mid-1980s because, again, one size doesn't fit all. If people are making progress within our vocational training center, we're always looking at what's next. And I've been fortunate to be around for the whole period of time that we've been doing it. And yes, employers might want to do something they think is nice, but there was trepidation to begin with, because ultimately, when you hire somebody, you hire them to do the job. We all should ask for reasonable accommodation, no matter who we are or what we do, but you hire the person to do the job. So once they've taken the leap, if you will, the gamble, we have our staff out there helping train the person to do the job, and then also to help along the way if there is anything that needs to be done. And that initial trepidation from the employer, and I can say this invariably for the 25 current job slots that we have, or businesses we serve now and those in the past, invariably changes from trepidation to appreciation to wondering why all of their other normal employees can't do the job with the same level of enthusiasm and consistency that some of our folks do. So I think that the influence that we have is very positive upon the work environment.
Yes.
And then also, I could talk about the clients that we serve, or the participants we serve forever, but yet when someone comes in and sees what they can do, your patients, your other vendors that come into your place, and they see what they can do, it speaks volumes. They then carry the word going forward about what folks with disabilities can do.
Yeah, and it ends with a great deal of respect. To see that. And there are days, I know Carol might not, we all have certain days where you're just not your best. Yeah, like me today with this interview. But, she's always enthusiastic despite that, and I appreciate that. And she's contagious, that kind of enthusiasm for her job. People realize, hey, they can't complain about much, and they can do so much too. So
earlier I said, when I was standing there looking down on the folks that at the Kennedy Job Training Center, I said something clicked. It made me realize that we're all disabled in our own way, and fall somewhere along the spectrum, and maybe I can do certain things better than you, and if you would compare that, you would come out disabled if you can do things better than I. So it just depends upon your point of view.
It's a spectrum,
Which
isn't it?
Which is, again, that's the English thing, the point of view about what you see over here. And one of the things that has been helpful, that helped me in my life, and it was also we have a volunteer program. We have many volunteers that Park Lawn is so appreciative of, and we could talk about them for more than 20 minutes, believe me. But since 1973, 2 years before I got to Park Lawn, a relationship was set up with Marist High School. And again, they were an early program in community service high school. And we have Marist men and women that come to us every year, five days a week for 1 hour a day. And what I've seen from those young men and young lady, catching them at their senior year in high school, where they're transitioning, looking forward to what the future is, that first day that they're in for the orientation, wide-eyed, and they look at our folks and they see the differences, and it looks like it's this big. Very soon, they get to know the people that we serve, and they realize that the differences are this much, and that we're all really the same. They're a tremendous assistance to us. We are assistants to them, too, in terms of how they help frame life going forward. And they then have been, since 1973, 1974, have been the high school graduates that now are working in the community, are leaders in the community that have a totally different view of what developmental disabilities can be, should be, and again, the focus is on the ability part. That's not to say, with the broad spectrum of folks that we serve, that those with the severe and profound needs are just as dignified as the other folks. They need more care, but we also provide that opportunity. So often in people talking about the abilities of people with disabilities, there's only this focus on this end of what the can-dos. Well, that's great, and they deserve all that, but again, it's along a spectrum. In Park Lawn, so proud that we serve that wide range of disability, but it comes with a cost. And this is the fundraising cost that is there. Many organizations will not take some of the folks that we serve because of the level of care that they need, because of the fact that the state dollar continues to shrink from 85% of covering, helping us provide the programs, now less than 75%, which then our annual operating budget is $9.5 million. So we are raising continuing amounts of money just to break even. We have not received any type of rate increase from the state since 2009. Costs continue to go up. So that's just a reality that we continue to work with. We want the state of Illinois to be successful, but don't take these cuts out on the backs of the people that are so vulnerable. We realize that there will never be enough money to do it, but if we're in partnership, there has to be a fair share.
Wow. So the governor is proposing further cuts. I'm hearing numbers in the 12%, 13% range. What would that mean in a dollar value that you would have to do additional fundraising to?
If that were to go through, we would be cut in the neighborhood of about $700,000 additional that we'd have to come up with. And again, it's state of Illinois has problems that need to be solved. I'll say it again, but we have to look at how we do things in a judicious fashion over here. Organizations like Park Lawn rely upon the support of individuals that goes above and beyond, but what is the fair share that needs to be done? What can we ask for to people to help us do that the state is not carrying its fair load? So we have a tough task against us as citizens of the state of Illinois, but it all needs to be kept in balance.
We truly can't have these kind of cuts, and I don't know what you would do. So fundraising and community support is an important.
It's key.
Yeah,
It's
and
key.
and when I think of Park Lawn, I always think of that groundswell of community support from Oak Lawn and the surrounding communities. You have volunteers that are so committed, so fun-loving, so passionate and dedicated, and you have tag days, you have probably 50, 60 volunteers at last year's Fall on the Green. You have volunteers for bingo. You have all of these, and then you have corporate supporters as well, that I want to thank them for their support. But I just want to let residents know and use this kind of opportunity. I'm going to do a little infomercial here
Go for
and,
it.
and make an appeal. You know, if you see Park Lawn Tag Days, if you get a mailing and a raffle ticket, if you're looking for something to do, come play bingo. Support this organization. Every dollar that they get goes towards directly the care of the clients. It's so important, and you know, it's so worthwhile. Park Lawn is a gem in Oak Lawn and is very worthy of all that support. Residents who are curious about Park Lawn can go to the website, or
Come out and see what we
even
do.
come for a tour. They'd need an appointment for
Sure.
that probably, but
Sure.
yeah.
Well, and asking for, the support that we have received from and through the village of Oak Lawn has been an integral part of our history, where our first facility, that short of the donated church space, which we started out in, is at 109th and LaPorte. And that was property that was originally ComEd equipment ground that then Mayor Dumke
Wow.
were allowed to purchase it for the sum of $1 from Commonwealth Edison, and he basically made that all happen. The building that we're in right now, without the support of Mayor Kolb, we would not be here, because the village floated a private activity bond, which they didn't, you know, we had to get financing for, but it also allowed a lower interest rate range. The village of Oak Lawn has got us involved in Fall on the Green, which is not only helping us out financially, but it's so great to see all of the citizens of Oak Lawn and all of the support that they have given to us. They'll say, yeah, great organization, and that really helps us keep us going. I know somebody who's been helped there, makes us continue to grow. But then again, one of the things that going all the way back, you went to college with me, I'll go back to high school. One of the things that I learned in high school was, whenever you point a finger at somebody, you got three of them pointing back at yourself. So the issue of the state, the issue of all the things that we talked about, the ones that are pointing back at us, means that we have to do it. That this is where, again, entrepreneurship, which the Coleman Foundation was another foundation that has been tremendously supportive of us. They look for that. They look for creativity. They look for energy. And that's where, again, to think that other people are going to solve issues and problems just because we're doing good, that's not an expectation. It is an expectation on our part to make sure that we are worthy. We
That's
are worthy
wonderful.
of that.
Now, Coleman Foundation, they do mostly matching.
Yes.
So what does that mean?
Well, the Coleman Foundation, we're fortunate. They were a foundation that was created from Fannie Mae candies. And after Fannie Mae candies was
Wonderful
sold.
things come from
Yes,
chocolate.
there it is.
So
the Coleman
Coleman-
Foundation they created a foundation. They're one of the more generous foundations in the Chicago metro area, not the largest, but if you look in Cranes and places like that, they donate the second amount of money to their three funding priorities, which is cancer and cancer treatment and cancer research, entrepreneurship, and developmental disabilities.
Wow.
Through a connection we could talk about, they became aware of Park Lawn. They saw our history of continuing to move forward from an entrepreneurial standpoint, and obviously they saw that we were doing good things for people with developmental disabilities. They have provided to us over the years matching funds. Again, they want you to work for it. But over the years, for the purchase of this building and also the renovation of this building, to creating an endowment fund that would help support the operations here, to a capital campaign. Without putting an exact number on it, since 1990, we have worked with them and have received about $4 million in support, of which we are eternally grateful for. And
It's huge.
and hoped, and they have begun to utilize Park Lawn in some of the other collaborations that we're involved in as sort of the model that other communities and other organizations should follow. So again, Park Lawn is proud of what it has done, but it's through the support of so many, and also including and primarily to the village of Oak Lawn, that we continue to be recognized for what we do.
So what's next for you, Jim?
You know, there's been a solid foundation that has been laid. I feel good about what we've done. If I can find ways to not only spend a little bit more time family-wise, and that's an important thing, because you never know what tomorrow holds. I mean, we had just how Park Lawn continues to go forward. Our board president, Steve Januszewski, passed away suddenly in May, just when we're on the verge of the transition of leadership and securing of stuff. It rocked out the organization. However, something like that, when it happens, it causes you to really find out again what your roots are, and you look deeply at what you have, and in some ways, our organization is even stronger now, and that is a credit to him. So I guess that in reference to me, a strong foundation has been laid here as to what I can do for Park Lawn in the future, what I can do for the community in the future. The dance card's still open is what it boils down to. I have a servant leadership orientation. I shall assume that come July 2nd at least, I'll start to have a little clearer picture as to what the next section is. I like to fish, but you know, how much can you fish? There was a guy that I know who was a strong supporter of Park Lawn, and he sold his insurance agency, long story, and then about a year later he said, you know, it is possible to play too much golf. So then he sort of looked at what the next phase was.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're a very giving person, and you are a servant leader, and I just wish you the very best. I know whatever you take on, you're going to have fun with, and you're going to do it very well. And Park Lawn has really benefited over the years from you are one of the smartest people I've ever met, and one of the most easygoing and good sense of humor. And I know with that combination, it's only going to be wonderful. And
well, thank you, but I've gotten to know you also through the many activities. But this is where Sandy and I, our first connection was at the Oakland Rotary Club.
Yeah.
And the Oakland Rotary Club, or the Oak Rotary, the motto is service above self. So what happens is that you go into business people, and again, people should check out Rotary, because it is a wonderful venue, and the oldest service club that's around. Oakland Rotary has a strong tradition also. But what happens is that you come in with just the idea of providing service, and you get to know people on an individual level. And then everything that follows after that, business, community service, or whatever, it's just because you've gotten to know people and you feel comfortable in the mission that you are doing. So that's how I got to know Mayor Burry. We support some community organizations other than Park Lawn. We use our warehouse for Mended Little Hearts, for Bosch, for Rotary, for other community opportunities where people, we were putting together food baskets and a number of other things. So Park Lawn looks to give back to the community, and in giving back to the community, you get to know people, and it's all about relationships. And it gets
Park Lawn
taken
does a
care of.
lot of volunteer work in the community too.
Yes, there are Meals on Wheels, the Oakland Libraries, Share Your Souls. I mean, there's a number of other things. So we provide many different opportunities for our folks to live a fulfilling life. And in that process, just by them living a normal life, and people will kind of view their circumstances as abnormal, but when they see them out functioning the way it is, like I said, the difference is this big. So
Yep.
makes it easy.
Yeah, and Park Lawn is always looking for volunteers to help.
So again, go to the web page. We have a whole volunteer
What is the
recruitment
website, Parklawn?
www.parklawn.com. And it's kind of interesting that when we first set up the web page years ago, there was the .org was not there, and so we went with the .com. And in some ways, it broadens our base a little bit, because people come to us for both business reasons and for entrepreneurial reasons, and we're always interested in that, and then for the social service reasons, or that we are.
Yeah. Well, Jim, over 40 years you've impacted many residents' lives, and you impact even the lives of those who aren't even born yet through your life's work in Oak Lawn. And I just, on behalf of the residents, I think it's really important to thank you for that. You've made a big difference in Oak Lawn. You made a big difference for thousands of people, and I know in the future, Park Lawn is so much stronger because of your leadership and dedication. I just want to thank you on behalf of the residents.
Well, thank you, and thank the residents. It's a pleasure. There's how do you identify yourself? How do you identify your organization? We're in partnership with a number of the groups, but we also have those that have a Christian base, those that have, different ethnic bases, et cetera, et cetera. Park Lawn's base, Oak Lawn, Evergreen Park, from our roots, it is community service. It is our mission not only to serve the individuals that we do serve, but also to make the communities that we live in, even the fabric of their social fabric, even richer by having services like Park Lawn to bring people into the community so that we can give back to the community. And it's a partnership.
Yeah,
That's what
it truly is. Well, Jim, I appreciate you taking the time to let me interview you twice today. We wish you the very best in your retirement, and I hope you stay in touch, and I hope you're not a stranger around Oak Lawn.
God bless. God bless.
Okay, thank you, Jim.